I'm gonna be real with y'all, man, as if I'm never real with y'all. But no, honestly, um, as I'm approaching a year living outside the United States, I've really understood what the whole saying means, or what the saying of glass half empty, glass half full kind of means now. Because although I've been living with my glass half full in the States, I've lived decent, I've lived okay. I didn't even experience a lot of racism and prejudice. You get what I'm saying? Being a young black slash African American male in the States, in a predominantly white area, working around predominantly white males, right? I didn't experience a lot. How, matter of fact, a lot, fortunately, unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, a lot of the endeavors I did were okay due to that demographic valuing me, liking me. You guys get what I'm saying? So I didn't leave the States due to direct discrimination. No, it was the bigger picture. It was because I had kids. I can't assume my kids are going to be doing the same things I've done, the same things my wife done. You know, we can't assume things, right? We got to give our kids options. That's for one. Plus, for me, which is what I want to get into real quick, is I'm just never comfortable, right? So you can't really teach somebody the realm of like believing everything is always going to be okay. You know, you just got to feel that, right? You got to have discernment, a gut feeling, intuition, and you just got to want to know your options and have flexibility. So that's a big, kind of the both two things, I guess, why I wanted to leave the States indefinitely. But back to my point in that metaphor, right? I guess. Although I was living metaphorically with my cup half full, I was still living metaphorically with my cup half empty. You guys get what I'm saying? You may not get what I'm saying unless you've experienced it, you know? And I was talking to some brothers yesterday, and we all say the same. It's crazy when you're in agreement, because it's one thing talking to somebody who doesn't experience something, especially something positive. Then it's talking to someone who's experienced something negative, and then they experience something positive, and then they can kind of compare and contrast. And it's like, wow, I thought I was living well. That's my point. A lot of us actually think we're living well. Even if we're living better than our peers, we think we're living great. And we can be living okay, right? Economically, socially. Like I said, I didn't experience a lot of discrimination and racism directly. You know, I touched low six figures, right? I was able to buy a home in my 20s. A lot of things people can't do. So you assume that material stuff or that physical stuff is doing well. Again, the bigger picture for me mentally. How's my mental? How's my health? Where's the trajectory with my kids being a new generation, like I said before? So people think when you're doing all that, you're living decent, you're living great. And it stops there. But I'm like, man, when you guys experience life outside of the States, I'm telling y'all, you're gonna feel like you've been bamboozled. You're gonna feel like like when you win, say you win a lottery, or like you get a contract, like people going to the NFL, right? To try to make this hit home, I want to make sense of what I'm saying. Um, your signing bonus is $1 million for an NFL contract, but you actually realize, and it may not be the greatest example, you actually realize how much like a coach is getting or whatever, right? Like like people can give you money, they can give you something, yet they're holding back the majority, right? If you're in a contract with a bid, like for construction, right? You get paid $7 per foot, yet the company that you're working for is getting $12 per foot, right? That's kind of what I mean. Like you're getting held back, right? even though what they're giving you is decent enough. It works. So sorry if that doesn't make sense. Sorry if I'm rambling. But what I'm trying to say is you can be living well. You can be making a lot of money. You can have a lot of friends, a lot of influence. But it's about that means. What is living well costing you? Living in the States, living in my origin country, what is it costing you? For me, it's time, which is the most valuable thing on this earth. And when I came out of the States, I realized how much time I actually have now. You know how crazy that is? Like, I'm living with a similar quality of life, keeping more money on me, making less money, but keeping more money with the same quality of life, if not more. That could be subjective for a lot of people. For me, I feel like I breathe more. There's more quality of life. And what I'm saying is I make less. Just because the environment is different. So there are going to be people that come across your path, guys, or yourself thinking everything is gravy here, you know? But again, I'm not here to dog anybody's mindset on that because that was my mindset for the last 8 to 10 years. Like, shit is gravy. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, whatever. But, man, when you start being able to maneuver certain shit, and it's like, what can I do? If I want to minimize this and gain this, what are my options? Like when you start thinking about the bigger picture of living, getting to self-actualization, getting to a sense of nirvana, even on this earth, even with the struggles of being a minority, right? You start thinking about that, you start looking at your options. So you start feeling somewhat okay, somewhat liked, to now feeling privileged. I promise you, I've never felt more privileged in my life. Yeah, you can say whatever as far as why I'm feeling like that, but I'm feeling like that. How many people can actually feel privileged, feel served, feel gracious, feel humble at the same time, feel full? That's my point, you know? So although economics is trending down for a nation, you know, for from a nationwide perspective in the States, your life can be trending upwards. But what is it costing you to get that? My whole thing is the means, right? How hard do I gotta work to be okay? When we could just change the formula up a little bit, you know? When we could sell some stock or sell our property, right? Or refrain from buying certain impulsive items, depreciating items. We could change our working position from full-time in the office to full-time remote or part-time remote. We can retire because we can actually retire and live abroad and not have to worry about working ever again. Still saving money on your retirement. I had a conversation, like I said earlier, yesterday with a dude who's out here working. I think he said he's teaching economics, and I met some brothers talking about how they actually didn't really know what happiness felt like. So he was telling me, and I feel that, and my visuals, I'm visually stimulated, so I just start thinking about stuff, right? I start portraying what he was saying in my head, and he's like, I thought they were telling me they were crying on the beach due to PTSD, due to struggles that were coming back up. But he said they were crying on the beach due to a newfound of happiness, like they had an epiphany. And I know what he meant by that. I feel that almost every day since I've left the States. I promise y'all, So it may be time for you guys to leave. I'm only talking to the people who are thinking about it, who are feeling weird and feeling stuck. You're feeling like you have options on the most positive end, and on the most negative end, you feel like you're on rock bottom. Then it may be time for you to leave the States. It's your home. You're still an American. Use the opportunities you have to go from feeling stuck, okay, to amazing. It can be amazing for some people. For some people. Again, it's the system. It's not made for everybody. Unfortunately, everybody can't feel that. That's a weird thing of life. But for some of those people who are feeling that weird energy, that mundane energy when they wake up and are struggling at the end of the day, at the end of the week, end of the month, end of the year, and it keeps happening, it may be time for you to leave. Even if what you're feeling or even what you're experiencing from a physical standpoint, financial standpoint, seems decent, comparable to your peers, the news, etc., you're probably still feeling empty. Seriously. And that's how I started feeling last year. Best decision I've ever made in my life. So if this is your first time seeing Black, please hit a sub, leave a like, drop a comment. I am now at 30 and beyond. I am now about what can I do? Where can I go? How can I live? Who can pour into me to where, or what can pour into me to where my glass, it doesn't remain half empty. You guys get what I'm saying? Should be filling that shit up 1% a day. Just give 1% or 0.1%, however you want to look at it. Filling that shit up. I'm focused on, I know things can be worse, but I know things can be better. So that's just my mantra, man. Be in that gray area, keep maneuvering. Talk to y'all later.